I have dedicated my professional career to the study and control of arthropods.
Hello, I'm gonna try. This is take two of this video. Hopefully, I'll do a better than my first one. Because I'm gonna talk a little bit about this is an idea that I've sort of stirred around in my mind for a long time actually, and I've never really articulated it, at least not publicly. But it's about how do we judge ideas or beliefs. And again, this is going to be like judgmental, obviously. But I want to, because this is something that I think is okay. When you hear an idea, an ideology, a belief system, a theory of something, we have a lot of different ways that we can look at it and analyze it. There's certain filters that we can run it through. We can look at how, we can look at the actual truth of the facts that make up the idea. Does it contradict something else that we know to be true? We can look at the logic that's followed to get to the conclusion, and we can analyze that and see if it flows right. We can look at other, lots of different ways we can look and analyze it. But there are some things, I think there's another way that we do have it, and sometimes this can be right and sometimes it can be wrong, but I think it's an important step. And that is looking at the person, the people that hold that belief. Okay, and I know it goes back to prejudging people and stuff, and I understand that can be a dangerous step, but it's still kind of an important one. And let me try to make my point here. Let's just state that you hear on the news about this rising group of people that call themselves snorgs. Okay, all right, you don't know anything about. I mean, it's top secret. Okay, they don't share their beliefs outside of their own group. Nobody knows what they stand for. It's too new. Nobody's infiltrated it. Nobody's whatever. Okay, you know nothing about them. Okay. You meet one, and you're just having a chat, not about their belief because they don't talk about it, but you're chatting with them, and you find out that they dropped out of school in fifth grade, and they think that anybody that reads a book should be shot. And you're like, wow, that's a shocking thing to believe. You meet another one, and you find out that they're a completely white supremacist bigot. Okay, and they have almost no education of any kind. And you meet another one, and so basically, from the people you meet from a group, you start realizing it's like, are there any intelligent people in this movement, or is it all composed of the bottom of the barrel of humanity? And so, without knowing anything about the belief system, you can start to form a judgment about it indirectly. You can start saying, if it attracts this class of people, this group of people, then I have a sneaking suspicion there's something wrong with the system, the belief system. Okay, you probably see where I'm going with this. And I'm going to bring up an example of it, a real world example. This happened a couple of years ago. A couple of years ago, actually over 2 decades ago. When I lived in Paulsbo, Washington, I moved into a house in a little neighborhood, and the house happened to be one of 4 houses that were really clustered together, like they were right next to each other. 4 houses that were all occupied by a group of neo-Nazi skinheads, the White Aryan Resistance. And one group of them had been evicted, and so their place came open, and so lucky me moved right into the dead center of this little group. And so I was a little uncomfortable because they'd always be out in their front yard, and I was I never really knew skinheads. I didn't really know any, I knew of some, and I knew, anyway. Point is, they made me very, very uncomfortable. And after like the second day I moved in, they all decided to drop by. There's about 12 or 15 of them. I mean, it was a big group. Not all of them dropped by, but a group of them dropped in. They invited themselves in. They stopped and they had a beer. And basically, they told me the message that they don't have a problem with me, provided I keep my friends white. That's what they told me to do. They said, keep your friends white, and you won't have any problem with us. We'll stay out of your way. And I was like, okay, thanks, whatever, thank you for telling me what I can do. And but over the next few days, they'd drop by. I'd be out, like I'd come home from work, and they'd walk over to see how I was doing, or see if there was whatever it is, just to drop in to see what, being friendly. They were being your friendly neighborhood skinheads. And so I had a chance to chat with these guys a little bit more than I wanted to, and found out that with the exception of one of them who didn't even live in the house. Okay, there was one of them who came by periodically, and he actually, surprisingly enough, seemed to be a nice guy. Seemed to be, friendly, sort of outgoing, whatever. And he never talked about being a skinhead or anything. He just would talk about work and talk about this and that, and going to see a concert or whatever it is. He'd stop by and chat. But all of the rest of them that lived there, and I'm not exaggerating this, every single one of them were about the dumbest people that I have ever had the displeasure of meeting. I mean, they were dumb, and I don't mean that because of their belief. I don't mean that because of their Nazi beliefs. I'm not saying, I wasn't even using that standard as something to judge them. I'm talking about everything in their lives. Every single thing that came out of their mouths was this like poorly formed, just ignorant. I mean, I think some of them were literally borderline retarded. Okay? They had no education. They were opposed to education. They were opposed to reading in books. I was reading a Carl Sagan book in my house, and one of them pointed out to it about, something about, do you have to read that, or why are you reading that? Kind of like all shocked that I would be reading a book. And they were just dumb. And I thought to myself, this is where I started thinking about this idea. I started thinking, how strong, how reasonable, how rational can a belief system be if its primary attractant are the bottom of the freaking human gene pool? What does that say about it? I understand that there's leaders that are not, I met one of the leaders, and I've seen online and, even on YouTube, even if I disagree with them, obviously they seem to be reasonably much more intelligent than these guys were, people that call themselves Nazi skinheads. So it's not like the whole movement is composed of the fundamentally stupid. But I think in a large part they are. The actual, they were the guys that were willing to shave their heads. I mean, the leader that came by didn't have his head shaved. These are the guys that had the swastika tattoos on their face and stupid stuff like that. They were the guys that, Anyway, the point is that it attracted that group as followers. The followers of the group were stupid, and that had to lead you. You had to really question the motivations of the leadership, because I know a lot of people will appeal to the stupid for power, and I think the same thing. Here's where it comes full circle. Creationists again, young Earth creationists. Every single one of them that I've ever met, except for a few of their leaders that I really think are frauds, meaning they know that what they're saying is a lie, and they know that it's wrong. They're doing it for power, but the people that follow them, and all of them are even stupid, but they're ignorant about biology, about science in general, it attracts them. And more often than not, when you meet somebody who's proud to be a young Earth creationist, ask them about, I don't know, numerologically, does Obama's name add up to 666? Well, yes, it does. Do you think that, childhood vaccines are injecting poisons into your kids to make them docile sheep? Well, of course they are. These kinds of things. With that belief comes a wide acceptance of other ignorant beliefs. They have long lists of food phobias. They have fear of medical things. They believe in alien abductions or whatever it is. They have all these other things that come with it, and I think that right there shows, again, you can make a judgment on beliefs held by the majority of ignorant. Anyway, so I'm going to end this now. I think it did go better than my first one. I hope I said everything I wanted to say. So, take care.